This episode of the GameOverGreggy Show is brought to you by Kinda Funny, the animated series. It's our new thing, and we're trying to do 12 episodes, one a month, and we need your support. Please head over to patreon.com/kindafunny and toss us a few bucks to make it a reality. All the money raised in January goes towards this. So if you've never supported us on Patreon, come over, give us $1, and when they take the money at the end of the month, go away. Just leave us alone. Don't worry. You keep watching it for free. Have a good life. Thanks for nothing. Except the $1 in January that hopefully made the whole... You know what I mean. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy Show. I am one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer and birthday boy, Nick Scarpino.
Top of the morning to you, Greg.
Top of the muffin to you. Your birthday was yesterday.
It was.
Did you celebrate last night?
I had a great birthday. Yeah, I went out to a restaurant called Flour and Water in San Francisco.
It was delicious?
It was very, very good. Very, very good. It was one of those few instances in my restaurant going and say, in San Francisco, you always go to a restaurant and there's always something interesting about it. Where you're like, it's good food, but the service is like, they pretend like you just don't even exist sometimes.
Shit, yeah.
Or more often than not, when I go to restaurants in San Francisco, it's not like a pretending. It's just they act like you're putting them out.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you're
like
an
by being
inconvenience.
there, you know, like
right.
Like you ask them a question, they're like, it's a pasta, you know,
Yeah.
it's a fusilli.
Yeah,
Pasta.
yeah.
It's close to we asked them last night because I didn't realize this is sort of an Italian flair restaurant. I call it Italian hipster, and I asked them, I was like, what kind of pasta is this?
Are they all in flannel shirts?
Yeah. Well, the ones that weren't wearing like sleeveless shirts so they could show off their tattoos.
Oh, wow.
Flannel shirts. But I have to say the steps of service were fantastic. They were spot on. Every single thing. You know, it's a good restaurant when you eat there, and you don't
Puke.
even think about something being bad. You know, like you're eating, you're like, oh, it's really good. And by the
There's
end of the meal, I was
down.
like, Jesus, everything was great, like great. So I had a great time, and my wife put that together. We went out with some friends. Who I haven't seen in a while, all of whom are having children, so I'm sure that's the last time I'll see them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Something that I really enjoyed today, Nick, was while you guys are doing Colin and Greg live, Nick looks over at me and is having an actual real moment. Very few times has that happened in my life.
Nick never has real moments.
And he goes, I don't know what it's like to be an adult. Last night I hung out with adults. It was weird. I couldn't connect with things. And it's so funny because it's like, you're stuck with us. This is our life.
We just got a crate of Legos today.
Yeah. We're super pumped about it. We're juiced about it.
I'm so juiced about those Legos.
Yeah, no, I mean that was interesting. Well, we were all a little tired too. It was an end of a Wednesday, and we've been on a kind of a bender for the last like week and a half.
It's been a long 2 weeks
pushing
for
the
us.
animated show, and we did a great anniversary stream and all that stuff. So last night was the first time I sat down with people that were outside of my core group of basically, you guys are my world at this point, for better or for worse. And sat down with some of my old friends and tried to catch up with them. But I realized that my point of reference for their lives has changed now. Like before, when I would sit down with Eric, for instance, who we've talked about a little bit on the show, he works over at IGN. We used to sit down together. We had that common ground of like work, and all of our friends and all of anyone that we knew pretty much either worked at IGN or had at one point worked at IGN and was coming in under those doors. And so I'm finding it more and more like I have to be an adult and like really
What do you
talk
guys
to
think
people.
of politics?
Well, yeah, like what's like, or you have to work just a little bit harder to understand what's happening in other people's lives because you're not there every day. You're not having those shared experiences with them where you can just immediately flip the switch when you walk out the door and like, let's talk. You know.
Well, over here, the Pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty, you had Jared Petty over not too long ago. And Jared Petty's been off of Twitter at this time for like 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. So he knew nothing. And he kept apologizing for not knowing that like Christine had moved to LA or this had happened or we did the animated show. And we're like, no, you're a normal person. This is what a normal person's life is like.
Right.
It doesn't follow all their friends like every step of the way on social media. Over there, the Pier One, Tim Gettys.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great.
Colin's doing that thing where he's going to see how long he can be quiet on the show because he's a real piece of garbage.
God damn.
it's called listening.
As the
Greg.
leader of
He's
Team
just
Fat again, I
listening.
just wanted to let you know.
I'm just listening.
I don't think were you ever not the leader? Did I miss a vote?
No, but I knew that would get him all riled up.
Oh, I see.
He looks pretty riled.
Trust me, right now, this is an 11 on the Colin Moriarty scale.
Is he a But I mean, it was a great birthday. To answer your original question, great birthday.
Good, I'm glad.
Fantastic birthday. Might go out for drinks this weekend.
Oh my
and
gosh.
if you guys are interested.
You're living it up.
Because it's also one Mr. Ty Root's birthday coming up.
I
So
like him.
Wait,
sometimes
that's right.
Yeah, sometimes we do. He always has like the more crazier birthday, but he's getting old too. So we might just do our normal. Everyone sits down. I'm into like
Let's do it.
as I get older, I have less and less energy for like the wild night, like 10 out of 10 night. You know,
Sure,
or like, oh
sure.
my God, that was crazy. Can you like let's talk about that? I really just want to sit down with people that I know are interesting, that I love, that are my friends and my family, in a quiet-ish setting.
So you're
and
not
just
yelling.
hang out.
I hate
Yeah.
to yell.
Yeah, I've always been. That's
Yeah.
been my MO from the get-go. Sounded better in my head.
Damn, no, that was awesome. That blew me away.
But-
Mo from
But
the
I
get-go.
like this. I like this because my girlfriend, Gia, is going back to Philadelphia this weekend. So the thing is, the next couple days it's her time. So it's like, I'm like, all right, whatever you want to do, I'm doing it.
Mhm.
But I'd much rather do this. And if I'm like, do you want it?
Well, hold on,
Here's a scheduled thing that we could do.
We can
Then
play
it'll be
this.
good.
We can play this all to our benefit
Advantage,
because
yeah.
my girlfriend from out of town is coming to visit, and so I it's the same thing. Our time, but we don't want to sit around here
Yeah.
and screw all the time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes we wanna go out and
That's
do
not like you
things.
can't do that if you were to go to this thing.
Exactly.
Then it can
Exactly.
turn
We've
into
established
more
you've
of a-
never had sex.
Again, you unzip the panties, and then the vulva walls. Like
The
I've
vulva walls.
had sex. I'll tell you right now.
the vulva walls.
What is wrong with you right now? You found a hair?
His hair was on me, but I'm trying to figure out whose hair it is.
I'm having an
Kevin's- that
issue
looks like
where
a
there
Kev
was
hair.
hair in my eye and it's messing with my contacts.
That looks
so
like a Kev hair if I've ever seen one.
Kev's
Yeah, it's
hair is
dark.
attacking.
Kevin, that looks like a hair from you. It's not a bad thing.
Right
I mean,
here.
he uses public washers, so maybe that's it too. What do you think, Kev? That you?
That hair's Peruvian if I've ever seen a Peruvian hair
That's
in my
the
life.
most Peruvian ass hair I've ever seen.
Ass hair. I don't know.
So yeah, do something and plan a night.
Never
but
mind, that's
pick
a pubic
night
hair
so
of
we
mine.
can then tell
That's my
people.
own
We
pubic
can
hair.
tell our girls
So straight.
this is the night we're doing something.
Cool. Then I'll get on the old
Let's
text
figure it out.
messages and figure it out with Big T root.
If you didn't know, this is the Game Over Greggy show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table. Each bring a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where you can toss us a few bucks and get each and every episode early, along with a bunch of bonus perks. I think this one goes up. Yep, it's still January. So you gotta go over there and support the animated series, please. All the money raised in January is going towards making The Birthday Boy, Nick Scarpino's animated series, a 12-episode run.
So can we just treat Nick like he is a 16-year-old girl and just give him a birthday month?
Sure. Yeah, that
Where
works
it's
for
just,
me.
he'll be the birthday boy for
The present you
entire
could
month.
give Nick Scarpino is this cartoon that he has written, directed, and is making happen, along with our healthcare.
Do you guys
you
know what I'm talking about though?
No, I don't
With
know.
the 16-year-old girls?
No. I know Quinceañeras parties. Quinceañeras parties.
Kircieris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quinceañeras
Good old
parties.
Kircieris.
They got a
And
Q
those
in there.
Lobo Saltados. No, what would you...
Lobo Santa.
What do you guys call
Carne
them?
saltos.
Carnes. Yeah, okay.
Carne fritas.
Like I had so many friends in high school and all the way through college where it's like their birthday might have been the Wednesday of that week, but
Yeah.
that meant they're going out the weekend before, the weekend
Sure,
after.
right.
You know what? Fuck it. The next 3 weekends, and it's all
Okay.
about me. How many cakes can I fucking get
Sure.
and not eat? They always get cakes
Why
and
didn't
don't
they
eat
eat the
them.
cakes?
We just went to brunch recently, like last weekend, and it was out in the marina. And
Of course
I
it was.
swear to God, the cast of not Desperate, Real Housewives.
Real Housewives.
Yeah, there was Housewives. There was a lot of
Oh, yeah.
Housewives.
Yeah.
And they were all the Tipsy Pig.
Oh, the Tipsy Pig is so
pig,
good, though.
man. It
Did
was
you get
good.
those biscuits?
Yes.
Oh, fuck
Damn
me.
good
The
biscuits.
mac and cheese?
And
yes.
there's this group of women, and they were fabulous. They were just spectacular. They were having so much fun. I was like, good for fucking you. You guys, ranging from the ages of God knows what. There was the entire range was there.
Oh, wow. The
And,
spectrum.
oh yeah, yeah. And it was really good. And like their heels. I didn't know you could wear heels that were that much of an incline.
Oh, nice.
It was just like,
Nice.
and they were doing these acrobatic moves that I was like, I couldn't do that if
What's
I tried.
happening at this
like,
lunch?
Why
they're
didn't you call Nick? He lives right
they're
there.
like trying to step over to like get in between like different people to
Tables
make
and stuff?
different angled selfies and stuff. And I'm like,
Oh,
I
wow.
like you.
Oh,
You're my
wow.
type of people. But
What are
they're
they
stepping
wearing?
on
What are they
these, like-
wearing? What are they wearing?
Oh, it was again.
Dresses?
The age ran
Yoga
the gamut,
pantses?
and the outfits ran the gamut.
Okay. Okay.
But very colorful, and I don't remember why I brought this up, but they were celebrating just to celebrate, and I really appreciated that. And I hope that one day we are Desperate Housewives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you got no
Love it.
bucks to toss, you can go to youtube.com/kindafunny where we break the show up topic by topic, day by day, until the entire thing posts for free on Fridays as one big video and one big MP3. Colin,
Yes.
start us off.
No. Next
No?
topic. No. Well, I guess I'll go first. I'm not used to it. I wanted to talk about New Year's resolutions. It's always fun.
We were supposed to last week, but we were obliteratedly drunk.
Yeah. So
Who would have thunk?
It's a little late.
on the Game Over Greggy
It's
show.
a little
after
late,
dark.
but who cares?
It's not
It's our
that
show.
bad because back on January 8th, 2015, we put up our episode of our New Year's resolution. So even that was a bit late. Would everybody like to know what they said?
Of course, thanks,
Love
Greg.
to.
No
I love
problem.
you for doing this.
Colin began because it was his topic.
Duh.
Colin began his topic on
I knew I
New-
did it last year, but I don't
and he
know what
stole
it
it from Nick, just like that happened this year.
I didn't steal anything from Nick.
No, point of clarification. I tried to steal from Colin.
You made it seem like it was going to be yours to begin with.
I'm really good at that. Wow. Really good at that.
You're the devil that I want
Incarnate.
inside me.
No, I'll put myself inside you.
Thank you,
Willingly,
devil.
willfully.
I'll put myself in.
Colin, your New Year's resolution, none of us did well. Well, actually, you and I didn't do that well, and Nick, we'll get to. Colin, you start by saying you want to be a little healthier, not work out more, but ingest more vitamins. So your New Year's resolution was to drink a green smoothie for breakfast every day,
Yeah.
and work out 4 to 6 times a week on the elliptical.
Right.
Not terrible. Yeah, the smoothies died quick.
Smoothies went down about 6 weeks in.
But
Yeah.
you were just pounding the zinc recently.
Oh, I was pounding.
You're getting vitamins in you for
yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah. A workout. I mean, I work out 4 to 6 times a week still. So I mean, that's
You
not
said
not so
last
much.
night on
Not
the
so
Q&A
much.
three.
Yeah, not so much the last couple of months, but
Yeah.
I mean, I
You still use the elliptical. That was the
yeah. I mean,
question
I never
yesterday on
go.
the
I never
Q&A.
go more than a few days without working out.
Okay. Mine was still not understanding the beast that Kind of Funny would be. I was still holding on hope to that I would wake up, make a coffee, and go into the backyard to read comics. That has never happened ever. That's never been a thing that's happened.
Turns
all.
out you don't even have a backyard.
No, well, that was the whole thing we joked about. Colin said the porch was too small, so I'd be looking right into his bedroom, so I'd have to do it. Although, I'll save it for
there just slow jerking looking
I'm,
at you.
this is Kevin. Remind me if I forget. This is one of a New Year's resolution I'm adding right now to this one that we'll do today. Thank you, Kevin. I also said that I wanted to read more comics, which I did. I joined Marvel Unlimited and read more comics. And I'm more regular with my comics, but I wanted to read more books as well, which I have not fucking done at all. I buy a book still.
Good.
I buy, like Colin will say, like Packing for Mars. I'm like, that sounds fucking rad, and I buy it and I read maybe the first chapter and then I just never get back to it. Tim. You said you wanted to play more current gen / non-Nintendo games. That you wanted to make use of these systems you had. You said you wanted to play Arkham Knight.
Did not.
You said you wanted to play the other Uncharted's.
Did.
Said you wanted to play Gone Home.
Did not.
But that just got here.
Yeah.
That I'm not. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if we were talking about console in particular.
Probably.
The problem was like we started listing games, so I cut it off. But I mean,
Yeah.
you mainly did you play more current gen? this time?
Definitely. Undeniably. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Did you
played a
play
whole bunch
more
of-
current gen than you? Did you play more PS4, Xbox, whatever you want to toss in there than you did Nintendo? If I was to put it on a scale, did you play more?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. Having said that, though, I don't think that I played more current gen than I normally did. So I don't know if I lived up to my resolution necessarily. Because I always played the games I wanted to play on the systems.
You played Metal Gear. You talked about Metal Gear.
Yeah,
on
and
there.
I wanted to play Metal Gear.
Sure.
You know, like Final Fantasy, if it were to have come out, I would have played it. Kingdom Hearts, I would have played
And see,
it.
that's what you said last year too. That those were the things you bought your PS3 for, and that never really worked out for you.
So I don't know. I don't know if I'll give myself the point because I didn't play Arkham Knight. Me saying I'd play Arkham Knight is saying I'm going to play the things that I'm not necessarily going to play.
Yeah,
and I didn't do that.
You would. What are you doing? Okay, sorry, I fucked it up. I didn't know what was happening. We're taking funny photos of you, Kev. You're funny. We like you. You're.
Sometimes I just like to keep a record of all Kevin's leisure positions.
Kevin's a man of leisure.
You then went a little bit further and said you weren't making the New Year's resolution to exercise more. You wanted to think about exercising more.
I remember him saying
Hey,
that.
I can tell you, there has never been a year that I've thought about exercising more than 2015.
Okay.
I nailed that one. I love me.
Your motivation for thinking about exercising more was the gratification, which was a big thing at that moment.
Something
apparently.
I talk about constantly.
I haven't heard you talk
Came
about it in
up
a long
today.
time.
Literally came up
I
today.
apologize. I just listen to you more. I've
Yeah.
been with you all day long. Now, Nick, earlier we were at the kitchen table.
Yeah.
We were prepping for this show. And I yelled, Nick, get to your fucking point.
Right.
And you said, I'm singing a song. And I said, no, I mean the Nick of 2015. And this is what I'm talking about. On January 8th, 2015, you wouldn't shut up, but I don't think you ever had a point. Because what happened is...
How is that surprising to you? Have you not done this show with me before?
What happened, I'm pretty sure I was able to trace it back, right?
Sure.
Is that Tim said he wanted to play more games this year. And you said, I do too. And then Tim said, I'm not done yet. And then we never really came back to you.
Okay.
Because when Tim said, I want to think about exercising more, gratification, you said, yeah, but he went on the paleo diet and got shredded and da-da-da-da-da. And then Colin chimed in that he drinks a lot of orange juice. And then it was literally 15 minutes of you telling him why that wasn't going to help him at all.
I stand by that. Orange juice has just way too much sugar in it, Cole. It's got good, you know, you get a good vitamin,
vitamin C,
C dose
you
there.
gotta get
but
that
you'd
vitamin
be better
C
off
boost.
you'd really be better off just eating an orange every day.
Vitamin
to
C
be honest with you. You get more
boost.
fiber in your diet.
So we're leaving yours then with wants to play more games. Did you play more games
I
this
did
year?
play a lot more games last
Okay.
year. Yeah, I mean, a lot more games for me is usually generally in a given year, I'd play 2.
Yeah.
I played, I think, 5 or 6 last year.
Yeah, and you beat a bunch.
I beat a bunch.
Hard ones too.
Yeah.
Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight, MGS,
Axiom Verge.
Axiom Verge, Batman. There's a couple more in there. I think I played. I fiddled around with the Mega Man collection for
Started
approximately
Uncharted.
3 hours, and then realized that only Colin could beat this game, so I stopped. Mega Man 1, really fucking hard.
Yeah, it's still
Not easy, unforgiving, punishing is what some people might say. Yeah, I mean, I would say that still probably carries. Are we getting to the point where we're making our resolutions?
Now we're to
this year?
2016. Let's start with you. You
Okay.
you get your limelight that was robbed of you.
Orange juice.
Yeah, I'd like to drink a lot more orange juice to start. Just only orange juice. Just get off my coffee diet and just go to orange juice. It's so hard because I always think like I'm never really gonna do any of this stuff.
Sure.
Right? And these resolutions are like made to be broken. They're like the number one thing that people would just immediately break.
Well, they're always it's like that, perfect world, perfect you kind
Sure.
of thing. I want to go, drink coffee and sit in the backyard more. Well, it's like, no, in reality, I'm going to want to sleep into as late as possible,
Right.
or I have to wake up and do a call and do this.
Right. I'd like to play more games. I would like to read more in general, not just comic books. I'd like to read more books, be a little bit more worldly with what's going on in the world. Because I hear, like I was talking to Colin yesterday about what's happening in Syria. And it's one of those things where I know there's a conflict in Syria, but I really don't know the specifics of it.
You couldn't
right?
spell it all
I
out.
get that. I get headlines here and there, but there's a difference between really kind of perusing headlines on Twitter and actually reading articles and having somewhat of an understanding. I mean, I'm not hoping to have the Colin Moriarty level understanding on anything really. That's just too much to hope for my brain. But just understanding kind of what's happening in the world, where we're headed, I think is very, very important for me, especially since, when we talk on these shows, like Colin talks about very, very specific, like intense topics sometimes, I'd like to be able to add to that in general. Work out more, do yoga more, master my inversions in yoga. I would like to do that.
What's an inversion?
It's like headstands, tripod stands,
okay.
crow poses, things like that.
Tripod stands.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's when you make a tripod.
Hmm.
And put your hands up.
Supposedly we did Love and Sex Stuff right now. The celebrity guest season is going, and we did one with Trisha Hirschberger. And in the intro, you're doing some yoga, and you said this is Warrior 1. From what I hear,
People-
No,
that
you
was
you
not,
said
in
it was
fact.
Warrior 1.
Oh, it was me.
I said that's
Okay,
not
good.
Warrior 1.
Okay,
It was a
good.
runner's lunge,
Good, because I
if
don't
I
know.
remember correctly.
The comments are saying, and I guess I was the incorrect one. Well, joke's on you guys. I don't know anything.
No, it wasn't Warrior 1. Warrior 1 looks way different than that.
So read more, workout.
Read more, work out more.
Be more worldly.
I'd like to. In a perfect world, if I had infinite willpower, I'm talking like the willpower of like Chris Pratt,
Sure.
to get jacked out.
Gratification.
I would like to start being nice to Kevin, but I just don't see that happening. You know what I mean?
I guess. I think we're nice to Kevin. We give him a hard time, but he
give
knows
him
we
a
love
hard
him.
time.
Kevin, I love you.
95% of the day.
We couldn't run this business without you.
Yeah. Yeah, and Kevin's gonna own us one day, and I want to write more. So
Okay.
the
Does the animated series count?
It does count. I'm looking forward to collaborating with you guys and laying down baseline scripts for the next 12 episodes, or like the next, I guess, 10 episodes, because we're already, at the time of hearing this, we've already started developing episode 2. Thanks largely to you guys out there. But just in general, I think it's good for us, because I feel like we're all pretty aligned of wanting to move toward more creative endeavors like that.
Yeah.
Just to test our might and merit at them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't have anything crazy, world things like that.
Don't.
Be a better husband, I guess. That's always the same thing.
Oh, what does that mean though? You're just gonna not talk so much shit on this show?
No, it's, to me, like, I think it's just the small things, right? Like the big things I think I got down, but the small things of just like helping out my wife a little bit more with everything, basically, and just being there more for her, being present more when we're around each other.
Sure.
I'm trying to make a conscious effort over the last like 6 months or so to like turn the TV off and just like having dinner with her, right?
yes,
Things
yes,
like
yes,
that. When I'm with her, really being with her, put the phone away, be with her, right? Do those things where like not reactive but proactive. in a
Sure, you're not
relationship.
getting yelled at about it. It's not an issue. You want to get ahead of the problem.
Right, like, but not for the sake of, hey, I should do this because I'm going to avoid a confrontation. More from the sake of, I think like thinking proactively of like, what could I do today that would surprise her and make her happy? Little things. If I get her flowers, if I just like, I know there's dishes over there, and I know it's not necessarily my quote unquote turn to do them, but what if I just did them real quick? Made her something a little bit, bought her something, things like that. I want to spend take a little bit more mind share.
That's good. That's
out of
good.
all the things we're working on and devote it toward her.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I want that to be your number one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Done.
Thanks for doing that.
you.
I have two. One I've invented on this show.
Ooh.
The first is played out because I've talked about it before to the audience, and that's that I want to be better to them. And I mean that specifically, I've talked about it on Patreon where I wrote a letter where it's like, we're not bad on Patreon, but we're not great about over communicating what we're doing. You know what I mean? And where something is. And like we just put up, during the live stream, we went through all the milestones and where they're at and what's happening. But I mean, the letter that went out last year when you started being a patron, right, was written very much when we didn't know what kind of funny it was and what it was going to be. And so it was like, I'm going to check out the board every day. And it was like, no, like you run yourself into the ground. And then, even though it is so simple to pop in for 10 minutes to see what's happening on the Patreon wall, it actually isn't that simple. And that's where we tapped Amy, to go out there and actually be like the community spokesperson, at least to like tell, because most questions are, I just joined and there's no, where the hell is everything? You know what I mean? Like, how do I get it? And she's there. But I so far just be there and be more communicative and be there and talk to the people there. And I'm trying to do it on the forums too, pop in and do more stuff there. But not necessarily, I mean, the first year was such a whirlwind and so much for us to learn in terms of how the business works and who we are and what a day is going to be and the fact that there is never a normal day. That now I think that like we keep talking about it, right? And that's why I'm rushing through it in a way, is the fact that now we know what kind of funny is and what year 2 is going to look like and where the responsibilities are and how when we are stretching ourselves too thin. And so like if we can keep it to where it is one show a day on top of Colin Moriarty Live or whatever, right? One afternoon commitment, then there are those suddenly periods where you can pop in and say, hey, and see what's up and talk to people and have a better conversation going there. Number 2, though, this is the one I wanted Kevin to remind me. So Kevin, you no longer have to remind me.
Already crossed it out.
Thank you. Kevin, give me a pound though. Kevin and I are going to get that backyard whipped into shape. We're going to make that a livable backyard so we can hang out and do barbecues. Because we're going to do the family barbecues like the Fast and the Furious back there.
Good. I'll
where you
provide
guys
the
come over.
soundtracks.
Thank you.
It's just going to
We'll
be
have
Fast
little
and Furious
lights
soundtracks.
stringed up out there. We're going to mow the grass, maybe put in like that AstroTurf stuff along the sides. So you don't
See,
have to worry
this
about
isn't
it.
Kevin's
I want a
wallow
fire
job.
pit. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He motivates me to do it because I told him about it and he's like, well, we could do that. And I'm like, we could.
Yeah.
Because I could have done it before, but it's
I mean, the thing about Kevin, we've spoken about this a bazillion times, but he is a doer. He gets things done, and it's awesome because he doesn't just it's like if I give him a task, he'll do that task, but he'll also add his flair. Like he is thinking about how can I make this better. I don't always agree with it necessarily, but it's always cool that he has his idea of how he's going to tackle a problem. So it's like if he's like, I don't like these shelves at Target, I'm going to build my own shelf. I don't like those because they are a little too curved. I'm going to make mine not curved. And here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to use magnets. I'm like, why would you use magnets? And it's like, he just goes fucking crazy. But then it always results in this insanity of, wow, that's actually really, really cool. It's like things like backyards. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because he's going to actually do it. He's going to put a lot of pressure on you to make it actually happen.
as soon as this rainy season's done, Kevin, we're back there. We're making it happen. Fire pit. Then we have the families over. You have the girls over so that they're locked into this place just like we are.
No one's coming over.
And they don't know it. Everybody's coming over and we're all exiting through Colin's bedroom. Colin, what is your New Year's resolution?
I have 3 of them.
Oh, lay 'em on me.
The first one is similar to what I was talking about when we were drunk on GameOverGreggy After Dark, is to just be a little more in the moment. A lot of my anxiety comes from catastrophizing things in my mind a lot. And as I told my dad when I was telling you guys about the conversation, the better things get in my life, the worse my anxiety gets. And that's what I've noticed. Like things really haven't been better in my life ever. So my anxiety has also never been worse. And it's always been that way when I was a goalie and I played hockey and I was always really paranoid about letting up a goal, but you're going to let a goal up. You're going to let some soft goals up sometimes and it sucks and it's your fault, but you also have great saves and save the day sometimes. And it's just like kind of live in the moment. When I went to Northeastern, I was afraid that I was like not good enough to be there. And I went to a school that was way too good for me. And I was always afraid of getting kicked out for no reason, like
You're like straight A's, but you're like, I'm going to kick one of these days. They're going to wisen up.
Yeah. And I did great there. And then I got a great education there, but it was like, I was always my paranoia. And then when I worked at IGN, I was like, this job's too good to be true. And I'm going to get laid off at some point. I never got laid off. I got promoted like 3 times. So, I got to like start to just to my dad's point, realize that maybe I just deserve some of the success we've experienced and some of the good things that happen in life. The bad things happen too, but our company's doing great. You know, we caught our audience up a while ago on what was going on with me a while before that. But things are like way better with me personally now. I'm dating a new girl who's an old friend of mine. She's fantastic. And like things are going great there. And so like my friendships are good and everything's fine, you know? So like just try to let some of that anxiety go. Like the other shoe dropping is like basically what I'm always afraid of in any respect. And, you know, I just, I need to get over that at some point, you know, 31 years old. I'm gonna knock on wood. Number 2 is I want to continue to like be diverse in the things that I do, as diverse as possible. And I think I did a pretty good job in 2015 of like kind of staying true to what I wanted to do at the time, and I want to kind of continue to do that. You know, I'm never going to be a slave to anything that I don't want to do. So I'm not going to play games just to play games. I'm not going to read the news just to read the news. I'm not going to do whatever. I like traveled a little bit this year or in 2015, and I met new people and I had new experiences, and you know, I read a lot and wrote a little bit, but not as much, and played the games that I wanted to play and did all those kinds of things. And I want to continue to like keep that spirit alive of, you know, what do you want to do right now? Last night I just sat in my bed and just listened to music for 3 hours, you know, and it was great. I could have played a game, but I didn't really want to, you know? And so I just want to stay true to the spirit of kind of doing what you want in your spare time that makes you happy at the time, and not feel beholden to any sort of quota in terms of new albums listened to or new games played or whatever. When a game speaks to you, play it. When an album or song speaks to you, listen to that song. I want to keep that spirit as well. The third thing is a little more abstract, but I was listening to the Gamescast that we did around the table in the kitchen, and I realized, you know, listening to a lot of politics, like professional pundits in sports or in politics, who are very talented. If you listen, you know, watch pregame stuff with NFL, or you watch Sunday morning shows.
Big old Michael Strahan.
They just speak very, not necessarily eloquently, but they speak in a way that it removes a lot of likes and ums and and I realize that I don't do that all the time, and actually no one ever brings it up. Like in the comments, people say mean shit about us all the time, but that's not one of the things. But I notice it, and during the Gamescast, I was doing a lot of ums, and I was like, I gotta clean that shit up. But it's something you have to be cognizant of, to just speak more eloquent. It's not even about eloquence again. It's just to speak more forthright and remove the likes and the ums and the nos, as they would do in Japanese or whatever, where it's like, you know, the things that give you time to think or whatever, just don't say anything.
Well, keep in mind,
and so I want to like clean that up, because it's fucking frustrating to me listening to myself doing that. And even though I don't think anyone else noticed, I'm like, I can be much better than that. So
don't forget though, that is a different kind of product. That's brevity, right? They know there's a producer on the side who's like, you have 3 minutes for this segment about what's happening in the Jets, right? And that's why it is. You see them like doing this, and then it's like they drop their line in, right? Or like, you know, it seems like Terry always knows who he needs to kick to or whatever. Not that I'm saying don't get me wrong, this is something we should all focus on more. But we are like the rambling, let's yell at Kevin show. Yeah, but
I'm not so much saying, you know, the brevity or the length of it, as much as just like the clarity of it. We can speak better. I mean, I don't speak to anyone else. You guys can do whatever the fuck you want. But I just noticed that even though no one has ever said to me like, you say too much, right? And I probably really don't. Maybe in that show I did, because I was thinking like a lot more off the cuff or whatever. I want to clean the way I talk up, and I think it's something that you know, it's not a matter. People are like, sometimes people are like, why you curse so much? I'm like, because I fucking want to. I can't. But that's not so much what I'm talking about. Just remove it, like trying to be more cognizant, maybe cutting 50% of them out or something, and making it more, you know, coherent in some sense. Because I want to be on that level in terms of the way I speak. I think I think eloquently, and I want to be able to speak eloquently when I can.
I think you speak so eloquently that it makes all of us look like bigger jackasses than we are.
Idiots.
Like I think about this all the time, and you know, I listen back to any of the shows we do, not just Gamescast, but GOG or whatever it is, and I hear myself speak too, and I'm like, ooh, man, like what am I doing? Like I need to be better about that. But it is hard. That's just not who we are. So it's not like we are really focusing on that. We are kind of thinking as we go. Like this isn't like a planned show where we have points we're making. But you always sound like you do. You always sound like you know exactly what you think about every single thing you're saying. And I think it's more about the way you present the information. You know, like people believe what you're saying because of the way you say it. You know, and you believe it. You believe it, so
I
they
believe
believe
it.
it. You know?
I believe it.
And I feel like a lot of times when I talk about stuff, I'm more just kind of like, I don't know what I think about this. That's what I'm talking out right now. And so that's why there is more likes and ums or whatever it is that I do.
Makes sense.
It's probably
So Tom Hawkins, go back and look at all of 2015, count Colin's ums, and then start tracking for 2016, and let us know next year.
I think you'll find a lot fewer than you think.
I think it depends on. I actually think it depends. When I've listened back and noticed those quirks or whatever, it's always in the times that I'm most passionate or
Sure.
speaking off the top of my mind as opposed to something I've thought about. Or thought about deeply. So it's just maybe it's a preparation issue too. But
Oh, maybe, but I mean, I think it's really hard to when you're speaking off the cuff specifically, and I think the reason why specifically you guys are very good at it is because you do have a very long history of having done so on podcasts for what? When did you guys start doing podcasts?
Right when we started, yeah.
2008.
Yeah, so like almost
Doesn't
coming out 8 years, 9 years of this, and it is a skill that is learned. Like I've tried to get better at it, tried to get better at exactly what you're talking about, which is having more clarity of thought come out in my speech. There's one right there. But like, Tim, to your point, like I've seen you get better at it, but it is a skill that you have to kind of sharpen a little bit here and there.
Yeah, it's
I'm going
really
the
weird.
other way with it though. I just want to say nothing but expletives and make no sense. So I think I'm nailing that.
You're
most.
just-
See,
Destroying
another thing that I noticed, I'm just kind of like changing the topic a little bit, but watching our content, I know how my mind works when it comes to being on shows and stuff. And I've said this a million times. I'm a better producer than I am being on camera. That's not to say I think I'm bad on camera, but I think I'm a good producer. And I'm always thinking about the content, about what the people are seeing.
Yeah.
And so the flow of conversation, the way we speak to each other isn't necessarily how we speak to each other. It's how we want them to hear us talking to each other, And I feel like sometimes we break that and then it just turns into a clusterfuck of everyone talking over each other. But we're pretty good about not doing that. And I think there's a lot of times when I won't get my point across or someone won't get their point across. And I think it's because they're letting other people speak because it's not a good show to just constantly make sure that you're saying exactly what you want to say the way that you want to say it.
Sure.
You know?
To just sit there and preach every time. We
Yeah.
just go around and 4 people preach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Tim.
you've also got me. So I interrupt
And then
you
there's Nick.
constantly.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime it's the natural segue, you fuck it up for me.
Every
So
time.
thanks for that.
That's my goal. That's my New Year's resolution for 2016.
No, I was going to slap you.
fuck up every second. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Tim, what's your resolution?
I got a whole bunch of them. I think that the main one that I know that I'm least likely to actually accomplish is kind of the opposite of what Colin's saying, which is to just consume more and do more. And it's not necessarily just media, but in some ways that are media, things like Walking Dead. I've just avoided Walking Dead forever. I knew I would like it, but I just was like, I haven't read the comics, I haven't watched the show, I haven't whatever. At this point, I'm now completely caught up on pretty much everything Walking Dead. And I'm like, I can now speak intelligently on that in the way that I could before about Star Wars or Pokemon or whatever, all my interests, And
Have you read the novelizations, though?
No, I
Rise of the
haven't.
Governor?
I have
Big
not.
fan.
Right? Am I right?
But I like that we could now talk, like if we did a reacts on anything Walking Dead, I could be a part of that,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And I like that. I like being able to have new things that I'm really into. And even more than the content though, like I want to just go experience something so we can come back and talk to this show. Because this show, it is what it is and we love it. But how many times can we talk about the same thing? Infinite. That's the answer. But I want to add some more to that. Like me and Nick, I want us to go do a spin class. I don't know what a spin class is. Let's do that just so we can talk about it. That could be a topic,
Definitely do a spin class together if
Like,
that's what you want.
But what
My
you
wife
get
goes
what I'm
every
saying
weekend.
though, like dumb shit like that, just doing things. And the reason I think it's least likely to happen is because our schedule's not any less crazy than it was last year.
Sure.
In fact,
Well, you
it's
got to
probably
make
just gonna be
time. That's
more.
the whole thing. We just got to make time and do things.
And the traveling thing, I'm not a big traveler. I don't
You're
like
going to
traveling.
Japan with us.
But we'll see how all this stuff goes, and I'd love to have stories about doing things.
Yeah, I respect that. I mean, like to me, it's a matter of what's most important, like my own sanity or just having things that I could possibly rattle off at some point. And I used to be the latter, where I was like, well, I want to play as much as humanly possible so I can talk about them. And then I'm like, well, this information is not even really that valuable. Half these games don't even come up. Some of this is just outright obscure. And I really just feel like by shaking shit up in my life as much as possible, I become reinvigorated about the things I love again. So like the only constants in my life of the things that I do every single day of my life is like I listen to a lot of music every day and I like do some sort of reading every day. Other than that, I can watch a documentary, I can watch a TV show, I can go drink with friends, I can travel somewhere, I can go off the grid like I did in September for like a week when I was in Connecticut. I could, do a lot of different things. And to me, I feel so, because I walked away from like gaming every day of my life for the last few months of the year, which was like an awesome choice. And I'm so glad I made that choice. I'm like super reinvigorated right now. I'm messing around with the Banner Saga, and I'm playing Tharsis, and I'm excited about Volume on Vita, and we have Gone Home, and I'm
Lego Dimensions Ghostbuster Pack.
so I'm like really stoked now about games because I'm like, I took a break. You got to take a break from shit. You can't just consume for consumption's sake. That's kind of been my mantra. So, I think you and I take a different tact on that. Although I respect the idea of like being well-rounded.
I mean, again, I'm not saying
about
everything. I'm talking about like with Walking Dead. When I get into something, I get into it. And I like want all of it. I want more, and it's things like that. It's not about.
I was gonna say, if
more,
anything,
it's
Tim's
about,
on the same track you are. Of like, yeah, he's gonna pick what he wants to do and go do it.
but it's just more picking more things. And I think in terms of real life stuff, it's leaving my comfort zone a little bit just to be able to have new experiences to talk about, because I think that that's relevant. Like that's making this show better.
Yeah.
All the shows better. Other things that are just they're New Year's resolutions for me always is going to be, I want to do list videos. I want to do comedy videos.
Yeah.
I want to do rap videos.
You got to do one of
like,
the comedy videos.
and all that. Yeah, exactly. But like all those things, I want to do that. I hope that I reach a point in my life that those aren't resolutions that aren't going to happen.
Sure.
This year might be the year. Who knows? In terms of making content it's a New Year's resolution that I'm going to stick to. I have to do this is I want my social media game to be stepped up. And I don't mean that in the stupid, like superficial way of that people would take that of, oh, Tim likes social media and stuff. It's like, I think that is a strength that I have. And especially in terms of this group, the thing that could make me stand out is I could be the guy that does the funny vines and and is on Snapchat and all that. And it's like, that could give me a pillar to stand on. And I want to come up with a plan where I'm making content for Instagram, for Vine, and thinking that way instead of just, oh, well, I'm doing this, I could take a picture and just post it.
Sure.
And I really want to focus on growing all of that stuff because I think it's very valuable, and that's the future. In the same way that we look at YouTube now and we're like, all right, that's the future of internet video. Well, it's becoming just the present. What's next? And
Sure.
I want to keep us going, I also want to support people more. I've always been big on supporting people, but I feel like now, especially that we have such a position of influence, like power of influence, like we can tell people, check this out, and they will. And I think that that's a very valuable thing. And, you guys have been using it for a long time in terms of getting people's eyes on smaller games or bigger games or whatever it is. Like Gone Home, like how influential were you in Gone Home's success? I'm not saying you get full credit.
But I was part of it. Yeah,
exactly.
Steve even
and
said that. When
and it's things like that that are huge. And to see all the tweets I get about like, oh, thank you for recommending Amplitude. I'm like, I love Amplitude. That's no problem.
You didn't know about Amplitude.
Like that's great, you know. And I've always been about that, about music and stuff. But even more than just telling people to listen to things, it's also like I've learned a lot. And there's been so many moments in my life where people have reached down to me and been like, hey, like, you should learn how to do this. I look at like Bernie from Rooster Teeth and a lot of stuff like that where I'm like, oh, you guys are doing this stuff. And when I talk to them, they're not holding secrets from me. They're like, here's how, like, you're doing great. Here's how you can succeed if you just do this too.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh shit, and I want to do that for people. Like there's so many of the best friends out there doing stuff, and I support that.
Yeah.
Like I'm very happy, very proud of them, like building things, doing all these different
The number of people who hit us up and say, because I'm inspired and I went and did this because of you.
And it's not just like making podcasts. Like I'm not even talking about just that. It's like doing whatever it is.
So many people took our story and like I quit my job and I'm making this game, or I put out this music album, or I did this.
Exactly. And I think that Patreons are a huge push. Like I reached out to Tonef recently. I'm like, dude, you need to get on Patreon. Like I feel bad doing what I do for a living and getting paid for it, and you're not. Like you're an artist. You should be. Why aren't you doing this? You know, it's like that type of shit where it's like it's on me to educate people. I'm just like, I know how to do this. Here's the secrets. They're not secrets. You know. So I want to do that a lot more too. And then this sounds like a joke, but it's not.
Don't laugh, everybody.
A huge goal for me. I want to make a 30 under 30 list, specifically the Forbes gaming 30 under 30 list.
Okay.
And I think I got a lot of work to do that. I got a couple years though. So I'm not necessarily saying this year is going to be my year. Because I got what, three left?
How old are you?
26 now. So I don't know how the cutoff dates work. It's 3 or 4 that I have. But I think that with growing kind of funny and doing all this stuff, I think I have a shot. I just got to figure out the qualifications for that.
Sure.
I'm going to need some help from people at some point.
I understand.
But I really want to do that. And I want it to be, I guess that's another thing is I feel like I need to do a better job of explaining myself and what I do. So I'm not just known as the young guy, and you know what I mean, like the kid guy, and like the other half, the guy that everyone confuses for Nick. No offense.
We have the same beards and haircut.
But it's one of those things where it's like I want to kind of be recognized for what I think I'm good at, and I think that I'm good at the the strategy stuff, and people are like, oh, Tim's the YouTube guy, but it's like I want them to know what that means. I want them to know it's like, no, I actually do have a business mindset about this stuff, and I enjoy that shit.
I mean, you should do one of your topics should be how you do everything, because I think it's fascinating the way you go and look at search terms and this and what you do for thumbnails and all these different things.
Yeah,
just do a class.
I'd love to do that.
I'll just hold the whiteboard and you just go and talk about what you do. But yeah,
because all that stuff, it's really fascinating to me, and it's I just want to be known for that because I think that we're doing really cool shit.
Yeah,
and I think that's my in for the 30 under 30. So I'm like, I need to keep pushing that.
Speaking
I'm scheming.
Of the cool shit we do, Kevin, I need you to go out to the table where the booze is, the little booze table, the non-bourbon, and grab the 2 boxes. You understand what I'm saying? You follow me on this one, big guy?
He's gonna bring back 2 boxes of chocolate.
That would be awesome. He just brings back 2 empty cardboard boxes. He's like, I don't know. You know how Kevin is.
I think he just figured it out.
Yeah, he's figured it out. He's a smart guy.
Yeah,
I mean, if we're looking ahead while looking back or whatever, it's important to finally share this. We've had these for a couple days now or whatever. Thank you all for our success. You, Tim and Nick, you can do it. Unbox these bad boys. Put them up there.
So before we even show these, there's a backstory to this. And that backstory is that back when we were at IGN, YouTube started this program where if you get a certain amount of subscribers, like they send you these awards and whatever.
Right.
If you get 1 million subscribers, you get this big old gold one.
Right.
If you get 100,000,
big old gold,
you get this like smaller silver one. And I remember when Google came to IGN and was like, hey, we're going to give you all this money to make YouTube channels, and Start happened. And like, with Up and Noon and with all that, that was like, in a lot of ways, we made that happen where we were like, it was our baby to get subscribers for that shit. And it hit 100, and they sent us these things, but it wasn't ours. We didn't own it.
Yeah.
We helped build it. We did all that, but we didn't own it. And then we started this shit. And I remember we were having a talk at 21st Amendment, and we're like, we need that. We need that to be ours. We now have 2 of them.
Yeah. So yes, we got our silver play buttons from YouTube thanking us on 100,000 subs. Now, if you're watching this, you might say, you guys have had 100,000 subs for a long time. Correct. And what I thought would happen is that when you hit 100,000, when you hit 100,000 subs, I thought they just sent you the button.
Yeah.
And then it turned out after 9 months of not having the button, I asked somebody and they're like, no, you got to request the button. So I requested the button, so we have our 2 buttons now.
This is the coolest thing in the world.
It's very awesome. And it means a lot to us.
I'm thinking about trying to figure out how to make one of these like an actual functional button. You know what I mean? Where you
like turn on
press
the
it
lights
and something happens.
Sure.
Maybe turn on the lights. Maybe flush your toilet. Maybe order something from Amazon every time someone hits
Sure.
it.
Maybe
There's
it's like
pods.
that Cameron Diaz movie where if she hits the button, she gets $1 million, but kills somebody.
Oh, that was an actually interesting concept. I never saw that movie.
No, the movie it did terrible. Apparently,
Did it? No,
Yeah.
I never saw it.
So we got to hang these somewhere in here, I assume.
Well, one's for Kind of Funny Games,
Right.
and one's for Kind of Funny.
Yeah. So thank you all, everyone watching this. This is a big moment for us. I got choked up reading the letter, of course.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
To mirror Tim's sentiment, it was an interesting. It was always sort of bittersweet accomplishing things at IGN because we had a great team to do it, but yeah, it didn't say. I don't know. This to me like, although I just realized that it's. Oh no, that's right. Okay, I was looking at it upside down.
What, you thought they misspelled
I thought it was
it?
spelled wrong. I was like, because the U's look like N's. Or the
Oh,
N's look
yeah,
like
okay,
U's,
okay,
or-
okay,
It doesn't matter. Looking at it, that would be apropos for me. That I just spelled it wrong. Looking at it like it's just kind of funny, but in reality, it's just all of our names, and that's the most important thing to me.
Yeah,
going
these are
forward.
2 representations of things we did. These are ours. We did this. We made this happen.
For point of
with you.
just for a point of reference, when you hit 1 million, you get the gold, but when you hit 10 million, Tim, what do you get?
You get the diamond, and at that point, they don't even put it in this case. They just send you this diamond-shaped play button.
Yeah, it's amazing.
One day.
One day.
One day.
Always something to look forward to.
One day indeed.